Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some very old laptops. When we think about laptops these days, we think about, 11, 13 and 15-inch versions of essentially clamshells with a keyboard on one side and a screen on the other. But it wasn't always like that. And if you look back at the history of laptops, they generally have got smaller over time. So if you take that process back, where did that leave us near the beginning of the process? What machines were available in the 1980s? Let's have a look. So today we're going to be looking at these two machines, and they are both from 1988, at least the first version of this was. This is a Compaq SLT. This particular one is the 386, but the 286 came before it in exactly the same form factor and came out in 1988. Also in 1988 was this, the IBM PS2 Model P70, basically a MCA portable / luggable computer. They're very different machines, and we're going to look at them individually to see if they work. I picked these up very recently. I haven't cleaned them, I haven't done anything with these. The person who sold them to me said they both worked, sort of, and he sort of qualified that by saying at least I did last time I used them. So we will be turning them on and having a little look, but first of all we'll have a look at the outsides. So let's start with the Compaq. This is a Compaq SLT 386s 20. It's on the rather rare dock, and in fact the dock is so rare I haven't found any instructions about how to safely remove the laptop from the dock. So for this video they're going to be both attached. As you can see, the laptop is this bit and the dock is the remainder, and like docks these days, the dock just adds functionality. In this case you get a repeat of some of the ports at the back, but most importantly you actually get two ISA slots in this particular dock. The laptop itself is a rather unusual design, certainly very sort of quirky for modern day standards. First of all, it's got a carrying handle. You don't see that very often. Otherwise it's a standard kind of 386 in the sense that it's got a hard disk and a floppy disk and a VGA display. You open it by pressing these catches here at the front, push them backwards and lift the lid up. It's a bit grubby inside here, but hopefully you get the idea. So the screen is VGA, but it's monochrome, at least grayscale I should say. It's got, I think it's 8 levels of grey, and you have a brightness and contrast slider to try and get the optimum view. It is backlit, but it's not the best screen in the world, and certainly it does have a persistence issue, so that anything that's moving on the screen will essentially disappear. Keyboard's a little bit spongy, it's not very clicky, but it has one unique feature, and that is that it is detachable. So you can use it a bit more like a desktop. There's a gap here which would normally be filled with the battery. I'm glad that's been removed. And then on this side you have the floppy disk, and on this side you have the hard disk. The hard disks are the infamous Connors, so 9 times out of 10 they don't work. Quite often this is the range where the gasket just kind of melts and leaves a mess everywhere, so that's probably what's inside here. I don't know for certain. The keyboard itself is a standard AT layout, 12 function keys. It's got small half-size inverted T cursor keys, but otherwise it's a pretty decent keyboard. Quite often the plasticizer leaks out of these cables and they crumble. This one seems to be intact, which is unusual, but it's very dirty. Let's just push that back in there for now. The keyboard has actually got some legs as well if you want to angle it up. So quite a practical laptop in the sense that it is portable. It's got a detachable keyboard, it's got a battery, and the battery life was pretty decent. This is early on in laptops, and you were getting 3 hours at least already out of these. So that's pretty decent, partly because of the monochrome screen, partly because of the overall low power of the system. On this side we've got the power switch and the plug for the laptop power supply, which is a bit of an unusual one. It's a big brick shaped and it hasn't got a captive cable. There is a separate cable that goes between the power supply and the laptop, which plugs in both ends with what look a bit like RJ45 connectors, but are not. Round the back there's this flap that flips up so that you can dock the machine, and behind here is all your I/O, and there's a nice little recess for that to sit in when it's flipped up. As you can see, this machine's very grubby. It's a little bit of rust on the connectors from where it's been stored in the garage. Nothing very exciting on this side. There's a cutout here where you could have the optional modem, 2400 I think it was. This is one of the earliest computers to support standby. There's a specific standby button here. So a very interesting machine. And one of the things that's interesting about this is it's got an LCD screen, not a plasma screen. A lot of the machines at about this time had plasma screens. Now, one of the reasons they went for the LCD was because they wanted this to be battery powered, and it was. It was one of the first kind of laptop style battery powered machines that you could carry around. It's still quite bulky. I mean, it's 3 times the thickness of an average laptop these days, and it's about 10 times the thickness of a MacBook Air 11-inch, which I happen to have here. So, you know, in terms of the footprint, it's not very big. It's quite compact in that sense. But in terms of the thickness, it's ginormous. Yes, I did just say ginormous. So let's turn it on and see what happens. Okay, one of the advantages of having the dock is that you don't need the power supply. You can use the dock itself to power the laptop. So I plugged in the dock. Let's open this up. There are 2 power switches. The dock itself has a power switch because it's got those ISA cards in it. It needs its own power. And then the laptop has its own power switch. Both switched off. Now these machines have multiple problems. It's unlikely this is going to start up and actually run first time, if actually ever. One of the things is the corner hard disk. As I said, the seals tend to just evaporate and go sticky, and so the hard drives almost always fail. This has also got a Dallas real-time clock in it, which means that it's going to lose its settings, and Compaqs of this era won't boot without that settings information being correct. So it's actually probably unlikely to actually boot. It might turn on. We may find out if the screen's working or not. And obviously the floppy disk drive, we need to know if that's working as well. So let's give it a go. Let's turn on the dock first of all. I think the switch is around here somewhere. There you go. So the dock's come on. There's no smoke. I've got a power light. There's a fan going here. You probably can hear that. Let's turn on the laptop. Okay, well the backlight's come on. Something is spinning inside. I'm not sure if it's the hard disk or another fan. Oh, we have got something on the screen. It's got 2 megs of RAM. Okay, so that's an upgrade. This machine I think only came with 1 meg of RAM standard. It's only the 286 only came with 640K. So it's gone through the memory check. Oh, it's just trying the floppy disk drive. Real-time clock, lost power, 162 system options not set, time and date not set. Resume, press the F1 key. Non-system disk or disk error, place and strike any other key when ready. So there was a little noise that sounded like a hard disk seeking. So either the disk has been wiped or the hard disk has failed and it's trying to look for something out of the floppy disk drive. Let's just do that again. Let's do a Control-Alt-Delete. As you can see, the screen is rather dirty. I've got a cursor on the screen, but nothing else. Maybe I didn't like the Control-Alt-Delete. Maybe I need to power cycle it. Oh no. I heard it try the floppy. Yeah, non-system disk or disk error. So let's try the floppy disk drive. So I've got a 720K disk. Let's try that first. These should be 144. Okay, it's making disk access noises. It has booted. Wow, amazing. So we have booted off the floppy disk drive, but the hard disk obviously has failed. Let's just see if we can access it. No. So this is the spin right disk. Has it got F disk on it? It has not. Let's see if we can read a 1.44 megabyte disk. So I've just put disk 1 of DOS 622. And it can't read that, so I'm pretty certain it should be able to read 1.44 megabyte. Let's put the 720 back in. So 720 is definitely working. So this machine is bootable to at least this machine is at least bootable to the A drive. That means we can use the Compaq setup disk to set the date and time and get the power and get the CMOS settings kind of up to date. That may allow us to work on the hard disk in case the hard disk is actually working. Interesting. Okay. So this is one version of what computing looked like in 1988. You have your laptop. In this case, it is battery powered. It is a proper laptop in the mobile sense. Detachable keyboard though for when you're using it in the office. A dock is available so you can turn it to a full system, a full 386 system if you want to. This has got one of the ISA cards populated and there's a little sticker on it saying 16.4, so I'm guessing that's a token ring card in there. Haven't got one of those, so that'd be interesting. But yeah, that is the Compaq SLT 386. One day I'll be able to disengage it from the dock and then we can see it in all its glory. Okay, let's turn it off. If you know how this comes out, the guy I bought it off said that it just literally slides forward. I find that a little bit unnerving. Most docks have a catch to stop it becoming disengaged by accident, so I'm assuming there's a catch somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. So if you do know definitively how this comes off, please let me know. So this is the other idea of what portable computing should look like in 1988. This looks very much like a portable sewing machine, if you know what I mean. It's blocky, square, beige. In many ways it's similar to the SLT, but it has a different kind of design aesthetic. It's quite thin this way, but it's quite large this way, and obviously it's quite tall. Good old-fashioned IBM industrial design, square edges, very little kind of organic flowing shape. It's very business-like. The front's very boring. There's a grille across the front here for ventilation. This is the keyboard, which I'll show you in a moment. The side is very uninteresting. Around the back we've got some more ventilation, but we've also got some access ports for power. And on this side we've got I/O. We've got a parallel port, what I presume is a serial port, a 25-pin version, a PS2 port, and a very high density connector, which I'm assuming is for a hard drive, for a floppy disk drive. Interesting. It's quite grubby again. It's fingerprints and stuff and writing over it. This side is not very interesting. There's a hole here. Maybe that was for a modem. But yeah, blocky, square, Teutonic. Never going to fall apart. I mean, this is now nearly 40 years old and it is still in one piece. So excellent. So how do we get it open? There's two little sliding catches here and then this folds down to reveal the inside. So we've got a standard AT layout. This one's got a numeric keypad because it's a little bit wider than the SLT. Same 12 function keys across the top. Same kind of design. We've got a coiled cable connecting the keyboard to the main unit. The screen is here and it's not an LCD. This one is a plasma. And because of that, you can't run this off a battery. You have to run this off mains. So although it's portable, it's not a laptop in the sense that you can't just power it self-powered. We do have a floppy disk drive and it's very conveniently hidden up here, which just pops out like that. It's a bit like that Zenith that we looked at a few months ago with a poppy out floppy disk drive. This one's a 144 drive for certain. I can tell that because IBM labels them. So there we go. Brightness control for the screen. The screen does also articulate, so it pops out like this. So you can angle it for whatever angle you want. I'm going to leave it fairly flat though, so that you don't get too much glare on the camera. The keyboard has another trick as well as folding down like this. You can actually remove it and type on it, and you can also angle it up by tilting the back section down. And then you have a good ergonomic position for your very important IBM work. The keyboard on this is far superior to the SLT. It's I'm not sure if it's mechanical, but it has a really nice feel, and you could type on that all day long, no problem. By comparison, the Compaq's a little bit squishy, a little bit harder to type on. So in terms of design, similar but different. These both came out in 1988, but they had two different ideas of what portable computing should be. All right, let's move on. So let's turn it on and see what happens. Okay, well, I'm sure you can hear that. The hard disk is spinning up, it's quite noisy. We have a flashing cursor, so that, at least we did, it's now gone. Oh, completely red screen. Is that normal? It's gone to a black screen with red writing on it, and it's counting through the memory. So we've got to a megabyte. The hard disk has just stopped spinning. I don't know if that's normal behavior or whether that means it's faulty. It doesn't sound unhealthy. No, it was noisy, but I think that's appropriate. 4 megabytes, still going. It's quite a lot of memory in this machine considering it's from 1988. 6 megabytes in total. Floppy disk is being accessed. We're beeping, and we've got a 161 and a 163 error. And if you know IBM, that means that the CMOS battery is flat and it can't detect the date and time. Can we get past that? Nope, we can't. Instead, what it's done is gone straight into BASIC, which is in the ROM. So a bit like the original early IBM PC and the AT, I think they had a ROM-based BASIC. So this is version 1.1 from 1981, 62K available. Okay, while we're here, we might as well do it. Aha, the keyboard mapping is wrong. There you go. Yep, there we go. BASIC is working. Screen's working, most importantly. Is that escape? Control break. There we go. So we have a partly functioning machine in that we've managed to get through. The screen's working, processor's working, memory also working. Let's see if we can boot off a floppy disk drive. So I've got the same 2 disks that we used before. Aha. Oh, that has clicked in. I was pushing the floppy disk drive in it, the mechanism to close it wouldn't work, and it was just bouncing in and out. But it has now clipped down, so the heads should be touching the surface. So I've done a control alt delete, hard disk spinning back up. So I haven't power cycled it, so is it going to do the memory check again? No, it's gone straight through to the errors. So F1 is the continue key, and it is reading off the floppy disk drive. It's a bit slow, but it isn't sounding terrible. And yes, it has booted off that floppy disk. Brilliant. So let's try the other disk. The surface doesn't look damaged, so I don't think there's anything too hideous inside the drive. So I know this is a 1.44 floppy disk drive because it says so on the eject button. I also thought that was quite cute. Hey, I've got the same problem here, so the disk is just popping back out and the mechanism isn't clamping down around it. So that obviously needs a service. There we go, it's clamped it at last. can we read from that? It's not making the right noises. Oh, it is. Okay. Fine. So we booted off the SpinRite disk, which is version 3.2. The disk that's in there is a 622. It's got F-disk on it, but if we run it, it's going to say it's the wrong version. Okay. Okay, so I'm having trouble reading some of the drive. And I know this is a good disk. So it could be that the drive is faulty. Let's just go back to the 720K drive. You can still read that, okay, fine. So one of the things that's on here, so we can't access C drive, no. D drive, no. We haven't got F-disk, we have got SpinRite. This keyboard, by the way, is much better than the SLT. Sorry, Compaq, that's just the way it is. So we're loading SpinRite. So the reason I'm loading this is I want it to tell us if there's a hard disk. So SpinRite has not found a compatible hard disk subsystem in this computer. Okay. Now, one of the things that's unique about this machine is that it is microchannel. So it is one of the few laptops out there that has a microchannel architecture, not a standard ISA. Because of that, it probably uses weird direct connects, ESDI hard disks, etc. A bit like the desktop PS2 range. It may be that SpinRite wasn't going to work anyway. That's a shame though. Let's load something like Check It Pro. Drive's getting better. Yeah, it still can't read parts of the disk. I think the... Oh, no, it's made it. I was going to say, I think the drive head mechanism is not moving freely. Oops. Yeah, this keyboard is much better than the SLT. What's PC scan? Yeah. So the drive's not completely happy, and the hard disk is not happy at all. So floppy disk isn't particularly happy. I think it needs a service. The screen's working though, and the hard disk we don't know about. It keeps spinning down. I'm guessing that means it's not happy, although it could be because the CMOS battery is flat and the wrong type is being registered. We've also got the problem here that we need the floppy disk working because it's MCA. All the peripherals need configuring with a configuration disk. And so I don't have any of those, and I don't know if you need those by default, and whether that's for the built-in hardware, whether that's handled by what the equivalent of the BIOS is in MCA. But interesting, it's working. So there we have it. So there we have it. If you go back up the evolutionary tree of portable computing, you get to these two machines in 1988. They're both really interesting, and at the time I was really aware of the Compaq SLT range. They were advertising it very heavily. I was not really aware of the IBM P70. It was probably more aimed at corporates. I think it was probably even more expensive than the Compaq, and the Compaq was really expensive. It's nice to have both of these. I'm glad they're part working. We've got something to work with, and I think each of those deserves a separate video of its own, so I'm not going to carry on doing any more troubleshooting with them. It's really nice that the plasma screen on the IBM is working. Those plasma screens are starting to fail. This machine is 37 years old, so the fact that BitsFit is still working is amazing. Do you have a favourite? Do you prefer the IBM? Do you prefer the Compaq? let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. YouTube's going to recommend a video on the screen right about now. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. We will see you in the next video.